Welcome back, Alpha Hunters. Hope you guys are doing well. The market has closed for the week of October the 7th. And we saw quite a bit of selling coming on Friday. Not going to lie. A lot of it came after the jobs report was announced Friday morning before the bell. So we saw a very nice, solid little gap down here on Friday. So it basically almost overtook the entire bullish activity that we saw really from Monday and Tuesday. And so let's just talk about it a little bit, kind of expectations going forward. I'm going to keep this video a little bit short again, but I'll be back home next week. I'm still traveling. I'm still up in my cousin's house up in Dallas, Texas. So I'm going to keep it a little short, just kind of get you right to what I'm kind of jiving, what I'm kind of thinking, okay? If we look really at the intraday chart for the week, obviously Monday, nice gap up off the pretty strong selling to end out last week. A lot of volume just kind of came in last Friday. A little bit overdone to me. It was quarter close also. Probably a lot of quarter positioning that kind of took place. So you saw a lot of dip buyers step in Monday, Tuesday, and just kind of buy it up. And then we kind of just got into a trading zone. Tuesday, about 30 minutes after the open, really just kind of didn't go anywhere until Friday morning. And so we just kind of had this little gap down. We kind of started selling down a little bit Thursday afternoon, but then Friday morning with the jobs report basically came in pretty good. Unemployment went down again, which is not really all that good for inflation. You know, that's the real talk, is inflation. We got CPI numbers this next Thursday morning, so be very mindful about that. It's going to be up on the 13th, okay? So next Thursday morning, we're going to get those CPI numbers. So it'll be very interesting to see kind of where they come in, and those will be for September. So just be mindful of that, okay? Usually the unemployment, if it's still going down, usually we're going to continue to have inflation just sticking around a little bit longer than potentially the Fed would want. So they might continue to raise the interest rates higher than what the market would really like. Okay, so just kind of keep some of that in mind. But some of the things that we're selling off today. There's some big time tech stuff. We'll run through some semiconductors, but Intel down 5% and a very strong volume candle today. A lot of volume kind of coming in here today or Friday on that sell down as it broke last week's low. And as we look through some of these semiconductors, you're going to see that they look real bad. So Intel already seen a lot of selling for much of the year. So yeah, that might have been a little bit of the low spot. We're going to have to see kind of going into early next week. Apple also saw some pretty big selling. There's a lot of big selling out of semiconductors and a lot of the big time tech names. AAPL, definitely part of that, down a little bit over 3.5%. And that's with the SPY being down 2.8% really on the day. So very interesting to kind of see that. NVDA, though, looking at NVDA, down 8%, back down to the lows of last week. AMD, look at AMD, Crush City, down almost 14% on the day. So, yeah, we're seeing some real weakness out there, really coming from some of these semiconductors. MU, not looking too well. Texas Instruments, getting crushed. And they've actually been holding up pretty good during a lot of the selling that's come in recently over the past 2 months. But Texas Instruments not really hiding out today. So TXN getting some selling coming in there, down a little bit over 4%. So we just saw a lot of selling come in across the board. But what was interesting, okay, as we look at the Qs here, back down to the lows of last week, early this week, what's really interesting about this is we didn't really see the dollar skyrocketing higher. Okay, rates weren't skyrocketing higher. High yield corporate bonds weren't weren't dropping off like they had been previously. The HYG had been mostly leading the stock market in whichever direction. But Friday's price action, the market was leading. So to me, that kind of gives me a little cause for pause, especially on anything bearish. I did pick up a bullish position out for 2 weeks. And a lot of that has to do with it's a small position. First off, it's a small position, right? It's not a big deal. We're kind of just in no man's land from my perspective. If we do get a bounce up to the 390 area or maybe this downward trending line, I might be a little bit more game for the bearish direction. So we'll see what happens here over the next week or two. But I think there was a lot of people front running, trying to sell this kind of bullish action we had this week with the jobs report that came out this morning ahead of next week's CPI data. I think a lot of people are just trying to front run the bearishness, trying to get ahead of it, because a lot of people have been wrong on it for so much of the year. They've been opportunistic to the bullish side, and then they've been getting crushed as some of these reports have been coming out throughout the year. So I do think a lot of opportunistic sellers were kind of in there today trying to push down the market, and we weren't seeing like-minded responses in some of the other things like the DXY, the TNX, and the HYG like that we've been watching. Okay, the VIX did have a nice little move up today, kind of corresponded roughly percentage-wise to the move down on the SPY. But still, it's not, to me, it's not, it should have been moving up a little bit farther, a little bit faster, right? Because it's not even close to the highs that it kind of peaked out at about last week. And, the SPY is roughly down pretty close to the lows of last week. So to me, I think today's selling is going to get, a lot of people are going to get caught trying to front run potentially the CPI numbers this next week. I think the CPI numbers might come in decent, not super aggressively contracting. I don't think they're going to outperform to the upside either. So I think they might just come in line, which I think right now the expectations are around 8.1%. I think they might come in line with that for the September numbers for this next Thursday. So just kind of keep your mind watching some of this price action. I'm not going to try and front run any of this. I don't like some of the risk reward as far as like where to be bearish until we get to some of these higher price levels. But if we wind up just falling off over this next week and CPI is bad and we just get crushed, we go back down to the lower areas. Well, if we make a run to this green box zone that I got out here, that will be kind of where I'll start to buy some long-term capital, start to put some stuff to play. But I don't think that'll happen. And when I get back home this next week, I will be probably putting together a pretty good breakdown next Friday because I haven't really been able to do a very solid one. But if we just check out this weekly candle, look at this weekly candle that we had come in this week. Huge upper wick after 3-4 weeks breakdown, taking out the previous low last week with that huge upper candle, lower volume than the previous week. So if we do break down and we do it on a much larger volume, that we could see a breakdown with sandwiching higher bearish volume on that green candle. So it'd be very interesting to see kind of what's going on with that. But I do appreciate everybody stopping by the live stream this week and just kind of helping out as we were kind of just going through analysis and breaking things down, especially today as we're wrapping up the week. Definitely enjoyed a lot of that. So if you do want to stop by the live stream, usually I'm on there every day around 2 p.m. Eastern time. And we just kind of look around at some different things, making sure we can find any opportunities that we can, what's outperforming, what's underperforming, that kind of stuff. It doesn't take a lot of time to do this research, but, just a little bit of time every day, and you can find some great opportunities, okay? So really, that's all I've got. I'm not really looking for any kind of bearish breakdown early this next week. If it does happen, It'll probably be early this next week. Quick breakdown, take out this low that we put in this like a week ago Friday, back on September 30th. Take that out Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, and then we start rallying. I do think CPI numbers will probably push us into the bullish direction, and we could possibly even set up a consolidation pattern like we had back in the July timeframe, late June, early July timeframe. So just kind of watch out for that. But yeah, right now it's kind of just hands off. I'm still just more of medium term to longer term bearish for now. Shorter term, I'm just kind of hands off, just kind of waiting, letting the market kind of set up. Let the market kind of figure out how it wants to set up, okay? And then I'll reposition. So guys, y'all enjoy the weekend and enjoy your football and whatever else you've got going on. And I will talk with y'all next week, all right? Take care, Alpha Hunters.